Hi, I'm Renée Walker, a mindset mentor, speaker, and lover of all things spiritual. I believe that at our core, we are all spiritually wired for love, peace, success, and abundance. Here on the podcast, we're diving into mindset, wellness, and business, but always through a spiritual lens. Let's just say we're going deep, but we're keeping it light. So let's elevate your life from the inside out, one conversation at a time. Welcome to Spiritually Wired. Welcome back to the Spiritually Wired podcast. We are going to have a ManifestHER event recap solo episode today, and I'm going to do my best to keep it short. I'm still processing this incredible day that we had. So if you're not aware, me and one of my dear friends, partners in this event, Binu Dhindsa, we put together an event called ManifestHER. And this was a full day event that happened in Oakville. It was our second year hosting this event. And the intention really was to bring women together, women that believe in the power of manifesting. So, when we speak of manifesting, there is a foundation, which is the belief that there's an higher energy that's at play in our lives, so that it's not just us. Otherwise, we're setting goals, right? And we've talked about this on this podcast many times. And I remember when Binu and I first had the idea, it was something that I actually was thinking of doing on my own. She also had a vision for running an event similar to this on her own. And then we came together and we just thought, let's do this. Because the biggest piece was being able to host an event where we were saying it from the beginning, calling it that we believe in whatever word you want to use it. And, at the beginning of last year, and we did it again this year, it's calling out those names, whether it's you call it the universe, source, spirit, God, angels, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. But it always starts with a belief that there is something bigger than you that exists. So when you bring people who already are coming from that space, or they wouldn't have signed up, there is just this unbelievable energy that happens. So I have to say that personally, last year was incredible. And I remember feeling the same way, right? Just all this magic that unfolded. And now this year, it just felt like it was that and elevated. I don't know how many times. Every event has their own unique collective energy and experiences. So it's never about making one better than the other, but there's just something this year that I am still processing. I'm in so much gratitude for how the day unfolded. And you never know, right? That's the part about hosting in-person live events. There's no do-over. There's no pause on the record button. You do your very best to be in alignment, to create an event that feels good. And certainly we have hired, once again this year, we had Kim Torrance, who's just the most incredible event manager, strategic partner to have in putting together something of this scale. I work with her for all my events, but definitely something of this scale. The amount of logistics and emails and everything that happens behind the scenes leading up to it. We've been planning for this for over a year, right? So the venue, the corresponding with the venue, and we have sponsors, we have vendors, we have speakers, then there's the whole set design. This year we had a DJ, Milad, who was amazing, and we had Of course, Matt Millier, videographer, Meg Dunning, also doing some behind the scenes shots. Like there's just a lot of people that are involved. And so having someone to look after all of the logistics really gave Binu and I the space that we needed to focus on what is the experience that we want to create? How do we want people to feel when they arrive, during the event, and after the event? So we were so very intentional. Of course, when you come back a second year, you come back with experience, right? So we knew the gaps that we wanted to fill from last year. We also had grown both on a personal level, so that was reflected as well in the way in which we were able to show up this year. I felt so incredibly calm. So I'm going to start speaking just from my perspective right now. But I felt so incredibly calm, almost where I thought, like, shouldn't I be a little bit more stressed? We had close to, I think there were 95 people, at least, if not more, in the room that day. Shouldn't I be more stressed, nervous? But I didn't. It just felt so good again because I knew that all of the details were looked after. But it really was coming from a place of trust. We're going to show up. We know why we're here. We know the intention behind it. We know the women. We've done everything that we can. And now it really is an active manifestation, meaning that part of the manifesting, right, is tuning into your intuition, tuning into this higher energy, this higher power. Then it's taking all the action. So all of the planning, all of the setting up, the surrounding yourself with the right people. And then the last piece is always the surrendering piece, the trusting that everything is going to unfold for you. And that's the spiritual piece that I really, if I'm feeling so connected right now to the knowing that part of the work that I'm here to do is to share more of that piece. My entire outlook, the way that I show up in the work that I do, but also for myself, for the people in my life, everything shifted when I just learned, and I should not have said just because it's more than a just. It's a big active thing, right? To trust and to let go of the trying to control outcomes, control how you're going to show up, and more allow for it to be what it needs to be. And that does require a lot of trust. So, yeah, I am still integrating it, but I wanted to jump on. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're gonna see that I'm just no makeup on, ponytail up, and I just wanted to be here right now and share this from my heart. Okay, so we had some incredible speakers. I'm going to start with maybe some of the things that I shared, and I just did a little bit in the sense that part of where what I felt guided to share was really around the process, right? Tuning into the understanding, because the thing about manifesting is that it's not an intellectual activity, it's not an intellectual process, yet it helps when you can start to, or you can create or make it into different parts so that you can do your best for your intellectual mind to jump on board. And so I was sharing my 3-part, and it's something that I'm going to do in another episode. So I'm not going to go deep into this, but one of the things that I felt really guided to share was I read this book recently called Dangerous Prayers. And there's this one piece, this one line that stopped me in my tracks. And it was, what you fear the most is where you trust in God the least. So what you fear the most is where you trust in God, the universe, source, spirit, whatever word that is, the least. And so part of what I've been really leaning into myself and then witnessing that with the students in our spiritually wired membership with my one-on-one clients, it's really working on that belief. What does that belief look like? And when I read that, it's just that opportunity to pause and to be like, yeah, what keeps you up at night? What are the parts in your life, the areas of your life where you feel you experience the most fear, where you worry the most, where you have the most doubt? And it's not to come from a place of judgment. It's always, awareness is always an invitation. It's always a space to be more curious about, oh, where is that coming from? And there's room here to work on my belief. So that felt just so incredibly aligned. And when we were, I was doing a meditation after and just helping people align. And I remember like there's a piece, and I'm going to just share that because this is how things unfold, right? We all have ego. We all want to do our best, and we all want people to love us and to appreciate everything that we do. And so I could start, when I was starting to feel myself as I was planning this, go into, or starting to feel some of the ego, it wasn't like, oh, well, this has to be like amazing and you have to change it, and how can you make it bigger and create more and more and more. And I really started feeling that, and I just took a step back and I'm like, no, I'm actually going to lead in the way that I always lead, because the foundation of what I do and all of my work is this is how I work with energy. It's a big part of the work that I do in alignment and helping people actually embody the feeling of tuning into a space of infinite possibility. So I kind of just chose to do the same type of meditation that I always do. And it felt so good. It felt so aligned. And it's an invitation for all of us sometimes. Like we feel like we have to sometimes perform or do more, and who we are isn't enough. So really leaning into who you are and what you do is more than enough. So if you're listening to this and you are someone who is putting yourself out there in some way, you have a dream, a vision, something that is calling you, but even in life, just in life in general, who you are is more than enough. And that's how we move from fear to love, is by witnessing it. You see it. Oh, okay, there's that not enoughness that's wanting to show up, and I'm choosing to be in a space of who I am is more than enough. And so that felt so good. Now, we had some incredible speakers that came through that day. So we had Jen Spiegel, who is from Becoming Iconic, and I'm going to link to her episode, because if you have not listened to her episode that we did together, please listen to it. She's just so incredible. And by listening to the episode, it's going to give you a taste of who she is. But I loved the way that she showed up. And, she actually said on stage, right? I have maybe more of a dominant feminine energy. She has lived more in her masculine energy. And I'd say that was a thread that showed up a lot throughout the day. It was just the balance, the harmony between being in your feminine and your masculine energy. But Jen, someone actually asked her a question where it was, what would you tell your 11-year-old self? And her reply was, I would just tell her to believe sooner. Like, don't wait as long to believe in yourself. And that, I know, spoke to me, and I know so many of the women in the room, is that like, why? Why do we not believe in ourselves? What is holding us back? Like, we are all lights. Everyone is here with their own unique gifts and magic and energy that they're here to share with the world. Like, why Why do we feel like we need to stay small? Why are we holding ourselves back from being in that fullest expression? And so hearing her say that, I just felt was so beautiful and really spoke to me. And then she talked a lot about the the how you show up, right? How you show up in the small moments when no one is looking. How do you love yourself in those small moments when no one is looking? And I know this is something that she shared in the podcast that I did with her, and she shared it on stage also. Like, one of the things that she felt was just how she started her days. And she would start her days very much in reactive mode, which is what most of us, and I so connect with that. And I know so many of the women in my community connect with that, is that you wake up and your phone is there, and then you start giving. And so part of actively loving yourself is beginning your day by giving back to yourself. And that can sometimes seems big, but one of the examples that she shares was buying herself this beautiful silk robe, and how the feeling of the silk on her skin reminds her of who she is, actually connects her to her feminine energy. And I love kind of those micro examples of the small things that we can do, and they build up over time, because that is what self-love is. Love is a verb. It's meant to be active. And so just sharing the different ways. She talked about being Oprah ready as well, which was fun. And I know maybe activated some people in the room too. What does that look like? And it was also like an invitation to be like, we embracing the feminine is beautiful, and we need our masculine energy, that we need to take action. We need to get things done as well. So it's not about just being passive. And if you have big dreams, those big dreams require big actions. So bringing yourself to a space where you can really honor both without judgment, and not trying to be who you are not, but allowing yourself to be who you are, right? But still showing up for it. So witnessing, I know for me, it's like I can pay attention and I can see like when I'm in imbalance. Because sometimes, even though I'm more naturally feminine in my energy, I also can go through phases where my masculine energy, we're never talking about gender, just to be clear, where my masculine energy takes over. So I loved all of the different examples that she shares. Jen is someone that I'm absolutely have so much respect for, the way that she holds herself energetically, very grounded, and just teaches us that capacity, right? Like holding more, because oh yeah, I loved when she said that. You see, I'm like recapping as I'm doing this live with you. If you are asking the universe for more, so when we talk about manifesting, you're asking the universe for more. So let's say you want more success, more money, more health, all of the more like deeper connection. With all of the more comes more of everything else too, right? More success in your business will also mean more responsibility, more holding space for other people, more healing. So you can't ask for one thing and not be ready and open to receive all of it. And I thought that really landed, because that's what we talk about with capacity. So, okay, I could keep going so long. I'm going to have to do maybe a recap part two. um, we had a panel this year with Kim Fitzpatrick, who also was on the podcast. Make sure you listen to that episode. Incredible episode on self-leadership. And Vanessa Ortali, she was one of my first guests on the podcast. Absolutely love and adore this woman. And that panel, so for people who were at the event last year we kind of did two panels. We had one that was a health panel, and we had a wealth panel, because it's ManifestHER Health and Wealth. This year, as I was sitting down with it, I'm like, I really feel called to have a panel on identity, on the becoming piece, the action piece. So when it comes to manifesting, we're in the asking piece, the act, and the allow. Those were the three parts of the manifesting that I presented. The act, the embodiment, the showing up is critical, right? That's what we're talking about with Jen's talk as well. Like, you have to take action. You can't, it's not about wishing something. And that's probably the biggest misunderstanding. And if there was a message, then I know for me, I felt really was important to share with the audience, was that it's never about the desire. Manifesting is never about what you want. It's about who you become in the process of receiving that desire, of the manifestation itself, who you're becoming in the process. Because whenever we're called to, so if there's a desire that's within you, assuming that it's coming from intuition, it's aligned, we're being asked to take action. And in taking action is where all of the fears, all of the doubts, everything that is not in alignment starts to show up. And that is always, there's always that invitation for healing that takes place. So the becoming piece is so incredibly important. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And it never ends. We are here to always expand. So the becoming is life. Life, the journey of life means that we're always in the process of becoming. So I just loved having these two women on stage sharing about their experiences. I mean, I received so much. And again, I'm trying to keep this short. Kim, what I really received, and I was asking her about the belief piece. So she launched Lumina Legacy, which is a coaching certification that is ICF recognized. So I'm not going to get into all the details, but it's not like an easy thing to do. And so she talked about the process of getting there. But what really landed was just someone asked her, what would you have done had it not happened? And her response was like, that didn't even cross my mind. And so it's the level of certainty that came with the goal that she had. It's the level of certainty. That is the actual, like, the belief piece of it. And in the membership, now the Spiritually Wired membership, we've invited, I have Marsha Van Weinsberg is now a regular monthly guest teacher. She's an NLP master teacher. Absolutely love and adore her. And she's trained me. I've learned so much from her, and I love having her in that space every month now. But we had a session last week, and she talked about, like, what is your belief meter? And this is the piece, right? We alluded to it earlier from that passage of, like, tell me what you fear the most, and that's where you trust in God the least. All of this piece, the belief piece, is so important. How much do you believe? My word for this year is believe, because when I had an experience of really being in my body where, like, I said something where I just fully believed that it was going to happen. And it wasn't about what I said. It was about what I experienced in my body. It stopped me in my tracks. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's what it feels like to fully believe. And so this is my question to you right now. If there is something that you're working on, and it can be a goal that you have in your business, it can be your health, it can be a relationship, it can be whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, but how much do you believe in it with absolute certainty? And that's the identity piece, because now it's, what does that mean to the way in which you're showing up? Are you showing up as if it's happening for sure? Or are you showing up as if there's a possibility of it happening? There's a difference there. You're likely holding yourself back in some ways, or you've got some doors open where you're thinking, oh, well, it's okay. I'm not going to put myself fully out there because then I can't be disappointed. And I know that that is one of the things that I really had to work on. I grew up like that was part of my defense mechanism, was just, I'm not going to say it too loud. I'm not going to believe it too much, because then I won't be disappointed if it doesn't happen. And the thing is that when you want to live life fully, chances are you will be disappointed. It's not because it's always going to happen perfectly, because the surrendering piece is that it's letting go of what is unfolding. I was listening to this podcast with Lindsey Vaughn and Lewis Howes, and it was pre the Olympics. So this was a podcast that she recorded. I'm recording this now, and sadly, she had this major crash that just happened at the Olympics. So this episode was recorded before that, but it was so interesting because he asked her. He said, "Well, how do you pick yourself up after a crash? How do you get back on the slopes?" And she's like, "Well, you can only do what I do if you're ready to crash. It's just a part of it. You can't do one without the other." And it just resonated with me so much when it comes to manifesting, is just, are you going full out, or is there a part of you that's holding yourself back because you're afraid of crashing? You're afraid of being disappointed. You're afraid that it's not going to work out. Yet, if you are in full belief of it working out, then there's no reason for that fear. There's no reason to hold yourself back, because that's when you know that if something does happen, if there is a disappointment, if something doesn't work the way in which you were hoping, then you are leaning into the belief that, okay, all I can do is trust that there's something else that's better for me. I'm being guided, redirected somewhere else. So Kim's level of certainty, I am just, we always say it's okay to borrow other people's beliefs, and I'm borrowing that level of certainty. Kim is just someone that I love and admire so much, highly. Again, listen to the episode that I did with her. She is just so incredible. And then Vanessa brought this, I just loved how she brought such a different perspective. And what really stood out, so I asked at the beginning of my event, when I was sharing my talk, I had people close their eyes and think of someone that they love. Someone, so I'm going to ask you to do that right now. Like, just take a moment and think of someone that you love, and someone that you have like an easy relationship with. So let's keep it simple. Someone that you love unconditionally, just someone. It can be a parent, a child, a partner, a spouse, a friend. And then I had people like bring that person to mind and then ask them like, okay, why do you love them? And the reason why was because most of the time we think of like all the reasons, right? We try to make intellectual sense of this energy of love, what it means to love someone. When it comes to manifesting and working with the universe, it is an intangible force. It's an energy that you can't explain. And so when you think of someone you love them for more than all of the reasons. It's a knowing, it's a feeling that you have that you can't explain, that you can't describe. You just love them. And so it's the same when it comes to your spiritual connection, to your connection with source, with spirit. It's something that you can't explain. It just is. So when we were talking about, so she brought up on the panel how when I asked that question, the person that came to mind for her was herself. And that was just the most, I was like in tears when she said that, because how beautiful is that to think of loving yourself in that way. We always think of other people, and I think it's beautiful to think of other people. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, but to really bring yourself. And then we had a question from the audience of what's your greatest manifestation? And Vanessa's reply was that her greatest manifestation has been herself. And so she was just kept bringing us back to that truth. And I so received that, and I love the way, and that is why we wanted to have her on the panel, Vanessa, because she always has a unique way. I admire from like one of the things that I admire from Vanessa is that She's built she built like this large community, thousands of women in Toronto, and she was willing to step away from it when it didn't serve her. I have so much admiration for that and so much respect, because it's so easy to get stuck in what's working well. And that was part of the thing that I presented in the panel. It's like, what worked, what brought you to where you are isn't always what's going to bring you to where you're going next. So, from a manifesting, from a becoming place, there needs to be a willingness to let go of things, to create space for this, for the more, right? For the fullest expression of who you are. But the letting go of old versions of you, old stories, identities, that, and I don't, sorry, old isn't the word, just it worked you, it brought you to where you are. And now you know that there's something else that you're being guided to, but that part, that's hard, and so easy we can stay stuck because it's familiar, because it feels safe. It's what we know. And so to be willing to let go of what feels like, okay, it's time to shift here, takes so much courage and trust, right? Here comes that trust and that belief again. So I absolutely received so much. And I'm definitely going to have her back on the podcast, but listen to our first, one of the first episodes with her. I'm going to link it here. So that was such a big part. And then my amazing partner, Binu, she's really stepped into her vision, her calling, which is to bring the money conversation and to bring it to women from a spiritual lens. And that is so needed right now. And I love just her energy, the way she talks about it. And when you know her backstory, is that like, it's not, she didn't want to be the one on stage talking about money, right? Because she always felt like, who am I to do that? But seeing her stepping into it, and actually I have an incredible podcast episode that I've recorded with Binu, just one-on-one, all about her. So tune in, that's going to be releasing very soon. But seeing her, so now I'm talking about seeing her as a friend on stage, and just the way in which she owned that message. And then definitely a highlight was she guided everyone into this. We called it the trio exercise, where it's you're in a triangle with two other women, and the person at the front had the two people behind had their hand on them, and then we kind of rotated it. But it was an exercise in receiving. And the venue that we were at, oh my gosh, the Bronte Harbor and Banquet Center here in Bronte and Oakville, Ontario. We were facing the Lake Ontario, which was so beautiful. But to really be in a space of receiving. And when it comes to manifesting, when it comes to money, when it comes to all of it, right? We need to be open to receive. And that is the part that for so many of us is hard. So I loved that exercise in so many different ways. I am the other piece, okay, that I need to share is that manifesting is the energy of fun, the frequency of fun. And oh my gosh, so I mentioned we had our DJ Malad, and we had just the most amazing playlist of music that felt so good, high vibe, high energy, definitely leaning in towards some 80s songs. So you could tell how our age. But it was so good, high energy. I loved all those parts of it. But manifesting is the frequency of fun. And that's what it felt like just super high vibe, super high vibe. And that just, I loved it. But we had this special guest that we kept as a surprise. So, Binu had been to an event that she heard this incredible singer, And so she came back. She's like, Renee, we need to have her on. Her name is Zoe Verola. And oh, no one knew that she was coming. And so at the end of the morning, she sang Rise Up by Andrea Day. And then, I mean, because no one was expecting it, it made it even more powerful. Her voice, her story, she's young. She is just has the biggest, most beautiful heart. It was, oh, I mean, you can't even describe it. And then she sang Whitney Houston's "I Want to Dance with Somebody," so and was in the crowd. Everyone was dancing. It was so incredible. Later on, she sang "I Am Woman," this song where the lyrics were just so perfect for what we were doing. I'm just still in awe, honestly, of her, and it felt, how I can describe it was that the whole room, it was as if we created this mother sisterhood energy for her. And I'm telling you, there's not one woman in that room that is not cheering her on for the most like crazy success. Like that was the piece too. It was like, not only was it her singing and her stepping into this, being this professional artist, but it was the collective energy of everyone holding space for her to do that. That just, oh, overwhelmed me with so much gratitude and love. And this is the thing, like, if I come back now to like, if there's one thing, it's just the theme of everyone coming together. When you come together with the spirit and an energy of love and wanting good for everyone who is present, there is something so undeniable, so magical that you can't even put in words. When I was on stage and I would look out, I felt like every eyes, and I don't know if you've heard me share this story, but one of the fears that I've had to work through is the around being seen. And I had this moment one time where it was like all eyes on me, and I felt like all eyes on me, and it made me like contract. And what I noticed when I was there in that event, all eyes on me, made me expand. Wow, I'm just having that moment right now. It felt expansive. And I mean, yes, it was the most incredible women that were in the room. I felt so loved and supported, but that's how everyone felt. Like, it wasn't even about being on the stage. It was just, oh, this energy. I'm in tears. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Ah, so beautiful. So beautiful. I'm in so much gratitude. Part of this too was having Brenda, our friend Brenda Jasmine, as our MC. She was back this year, and honestly, just knowing she was there holding the space throughout the whole event, and not just holding the space for the event, but holding also the space for Binu and I. And we felt that so much. We're so grateful that she was there. You know, coming back to the collective energy, this all happened. I mean, I mentioned Kim before and all the different, but then we had like, oh, Andrea Luz Donnelly, who's like, she's been a part of my community for so many years, and she's now a Reiki master, incredible healer. She also actually guides sessions in the Spiritually Wired membership now, every Thursday morning, and she's actually going to start doing now a monthly healing. She is just one of, like, she's an incredibly powerful healer, and she was adding Reiki energy to the room. People weren't even aware. So while people were receiving in the triangle exercise, she was in the back sending Reiki. While I was prepping for going in, and I was energetically aligning myself, tuning into, okay, what am I going to talk about? I just looked at the corner. Andrea was there beaming Reiki energy to me. And then apart from everything that she did to hold space, like, she's just an amazing person. I'm so grateful to have her. And then we had Dana Vitali, who's just another like human with the biggest heart. She was there holding space for everyone. Jamie from Vander Creative, Jamie's been on my team for years. And she supports all the behind the scenes, the back end part of my business. And so she was there holding space, helping us. It was just unbelievable. And then we had, of course, like all of the sponsors that came together. Like this was such an exercise in asking and receiving. But and the best part. So I have Nadia Crawford was our platinum sponsor, Vanessa Lo Cicero, our VIP evening sponsor. We had Audrey Bailey, like our gold sponsors were Audrey Bailey from the Village, realtor, real estate. And then we had Lee from Fem City, Burlington, Hamilton. And then we had Nadia Pezin, who from NP Promotions. So they were all like our main sponsors. And then we had incredible community sponsors, so many of them. But I'm gonna have them all on the podcast. So part of being a sponsor is not only were we sharing their presence there on the day of, but we're also going to be having them on the podcast so you can learn about them. But here's the thing, like these are women that are like, yes, I want to support. It's like they saw the vision that we had and said yes, which is just unbelievable to me. I love it. And I'm so grateful. We had vendors, like the best vendors that were, again, all like high vibe, soul led businesses, which meant so much to us to have them in the room, jewelry to, facial creams to clothing to all of it. It was just so amazing. So I am sitting in just the most amount of gratitude and also realizing that part of it is the integration piece. Whenever you are up leveling in some way, and I use the word up leveling because it's not like it's not that where you were wasn't as good, but it's a cycle, right? It's not like a steps up that we're taking. It's always a circular. Energy's always moving. It's coming and it's going. So there is a sense of like whenever we are receiving something, whenever we are stepping into a new version of yourself that will hold more of what it is that you're wanting to call in, we're invited, like, take the time and space to allow yourself to integrate, to be with all that is, to be with the shifts, to be with the healing, to be with the growth, to be with the more that you're calling in. And so I'm just sitting in that space, right? That space of integrating. I'm going to wrap it up now because I could just keep going. But I do want to say that if this is the type of energy that you're looking for, if this is the type of space that you want to be more in, then I really, truly invite you to come into the Spiritually Wired membership. That energy right now, the energy that we have in this group is just off the charts. We have this Telegram group where people connect outside of our sessions. Not everyone's a part of it. You don't have to be a part of it, but some people are. And then we have our live classes. We're right in the midst of our manifesting series right now. And this episode is going to release next week is all about the trusting and the surrendering that comes with manifesting, the belief piece. We're going all in on that. And then we invite, like it's always a mix of different sessions. And now I've got more guest teachers coming. We start our Monday mornings. It's probably my favorite thing to do because I call it morning energetics. We come together, we ground ourselves, we align, we let go of all of the dense energies that you've accumulated throughout the past week. Release, bring yourself into a space of alignment to open yourself up to receive more. And then we write, and some people will do like more the manifesting writing, and some people have been doing more I always give an option, more of a two-way prayer, which is where you say, "Dear God, Source, Spirit, what would you have me know?" And then allowing for this higher energy to to speak to you through your words. It's such a powerful practice. And then, you get to see all these faces and start your Monday that way. We record everything. So all of the sessions, the way, sometimes people are like, oh, but I can't come because Tuesday nights. It's all good. There's a library of recordings. We have monthly coaching hour that happens as well, Wednesday at 12. So it's meant to be like a gym. That's how I created it, a gym. So that you get to choose what serves you most. And when it comes to manifesting, it is frequency, it's energy. And the thing is that is our true nature, to be in this expansive energy. But then life happens. Life happens. And sometimes we get off track. And so being in a community, surrounding yourself with other women that help you to stay in that space is so incredibly powerful. If you use the code ELEVATE right now, you can have your first month free. So we're going to link that in the show notes as well. I'd love to have you with us. And I'm going to wrap it up right here. I just want to remind you, as always, that you are spiritually wired for love, success, massive abundance, peace, spiritual connection. You are spiritually wired to be your fullest expression. I am sending you so much love, and I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to Spiritually Wired. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow and leave a review. It really makes a big difference for the podcast. And if you're ready to dive deeper and join a soul-led community, come be a part of the Spiritually Wired membership. With weekly live lessons and a rich library of recorded classes, it's designed to support you every step of the way on your spiritual journey. We currently have a special offer where you can receive your first month for half the price. You can find a link in the show notes or come check it out at ReneeWalkerWellness.com. Until next time, remember to take some deep breaths. Remember that you are spiritually wired.